Well, I would like to say thank you to the neighborhood. I had sex about 11:30 p.m. I was done, and I'll tell you why I know that. I heard some black male adultery voices outside, and I heard something like a cell phone being used. And I don't afford that. They're black and they're inside of the building's fence, which has a key. Well, I don't know where black people live, but I just saw a video, the introduction to the video of it was a news interview in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, about the inner city neighborhoods where the black people congregate or gather outside, and they are outside of houses that are dilapidated houses. Black people speaking English, they are formed that way, and that's what they do to the houses when they're on the outside of the houses. And I'm not making an excuse about the illegal cohabitation with Charles Chow being Asian. Asian has a similar problem. They do destroy the housing from the inside and outside as well. They're not due inside because that's worse than if they're outside and they deceased the house from the outside. If I could describe the house, it's a houses, right? It's a neighborhood of houses that look like, I want to say they have 3 levels: entry level, a second level. What about a third level? Is that possibly an attic? I would have to look at that again. I apologize. So it's wooden, right? I remember the wooden brick, I guess. But they look like 3 levels above ground is what I remember, for what it's worth. The black people who were talking on the news, they wouldn't say that they damaged the exterior of the houses and make the neighborhood look like you wouldn't want to live there. But they are there. They are together. They come together that way. The black people on the outside of the houses and the outside of the exterior of the houses looks like that. Like they are just deceased the wrong way. Arena Henkin, that is a notice for you to vacate. The house in Mequon, Wisconsin, she was on the inside of, with 2 parent figures to herself and Lauren Henkin. You did not pay out the house to myself, and that's maybe because you're black, but I am somebody who has no key at all at this point, because this apartment key is already confiscated, and I'm in waiting period. I'm in a holding pattern, in a waiting period until I'm deceased out of the door locking. But the keys already confiscated. The police have taken the keys. True. Well, when I came out of having sex, I didn't want someone I could hear nearby to come to the front door here and knock, because it's true, I don't know how you know me. What keeps you away from the front door? Why were people out talking at 11:30 p.m. and away from the front door? I don't know the God above. He doesn't finish things like I do, which is, I'm done, goodbye, because I'm deceased. But God above does things like makes time. I just don't have time to be here. What's the sex for? I love myself. Heaven doesn't tell me that it's making tomorrow. We have that understanding that when I go to sleep, if I wake up, I'll do the best I can do. So, on to the next subject matter. I want to know who is the threatening that you know who I am, but you don't know who I am when it's time for you to get out. Well, I'm not a hostage, but it's time for someone to get out of the way that I am deceased in the threatening. And now I'm not here for you anymore, even to yourselves. You're here to yourselves for yourselves. You're here for yourselves to yourselves. You know, you don't have to talk to me anymore, do you? Well, I would like to say that I know who you are, but I don't say that here because the Godhead is deceased. And that means I'm not threatening you, that I'm going to tell you to get out and you'll leave. If I tell you to get out and you say, oh yeah, I'm not going to get out, you're going to get out. And if I say I'm not yourself and you'll say, yeah, you're not yourself, and you're not going to help yourself that way either, you're going to get out. And that's you just hustling myself, and that's been done already. Why are you like this? Why don't you go to jail and prison? If you don't change who you are because you are a debt where you are, why don't you go to jail and prison? If you don't affirmatively want to be in the jail and the prison, instead, in place of you making the threatening, why don't you go to the doctor? Because I've been taken to the doctor for everything I hear, and I don't see you speech offenders go to the doctor. Well, are you trying to help God to make creation? Because I don't think you're balancing that out in front of me. That when you make a speech offense, you go to the doctor. Not when I hear a speech offense, I get taken to the doctor. What do you want me to say to him? That my ears can't repeat what they heard? Because it wasn't my voice who was speaking. That's how I end up at the doctor anyway, and you have to see who the driver is for my growing years. You have to see who the driver is to know how I got to the doctor's office. I heard the police ask me, about recent doctors, what's your diagnosis? And I told the police, I'm not the doctor who made the diagnosis, so I don't want to repeat it. No, well, why didn't they ask the doctor that? Because they can't escort me all the way to the hospital. I can't stop them. And they can ask the doctors whatever they want. The police get right in the hospital. They go right in. I don't want to repeat what the doctor said a diagnosis was because it's not really true that I agree with the doctor. Well, that's why the doctor discharged myself. The police are contradictory that way. The doctor didn't take care of that I was subject of many police calls by other people, and I made one call myself. Is God ever going to hold the police to account for that they showed up to police calls with a gun in their holster, not just in their car, but like maybe they have a car parking with the gun in the car because they're police, but they come right to myself with a gun in the holster? Yeah. Is God ever going to tell them that I thought that was wrong? I mean, if the gun's in the car, I'm still right there on the threatening that I would talk as though the police was always ready to have a gun. But they wear the gun in the holster, and that looks like they don't have a plan for what to do with their gun. Who hired you? Who sent you? Because if I'm not the one who called you, why are you talking to me over the gun? Well, I'm not the dispatcher. Lionel Richie, you are. You are the sun, you are the rain. You make my life this foolish game. Before that, there's no one above you. Well, there's no one above me, but nobody knows that he sings that song about me. And I don't know Lionel Richie personally, but I used to watch him on American Idol. And he doesn't know what his star song is, but he's famous for many songs, and he did sing on American Idol as a singer because he is a judge. And I don't afford that he doesn't know which song I know about him, which is You Are. That's the song that's about God, and he sings it as a black person for God because it would be a black person who would sing it if you could hear it at all in this world. So I agree with Lionel Richie on the song You Are. That is directed at myself. Girl, there's no one above you. I'm the girl I was young when this song came out. It was, girl, there's no one above you. That's true, there's no one above me. But he doesn't know who I am. He's black and he doesn't know who I am. Well, who's in the money right now? I have no karma to be here, and I have no way to help you with that. You don't know who God is because everything is counted above that you would be aware of me. That means you count the money too high. Yeah, but you don't go to jail on any of the points of the counting of the money. I actually have nothing in it that you count the money high. Well, it is not a goal that I have everything I need. After it's been taken away more times than you can count the money. That means you counted money, you paid money for the things that I need for myself because I don't make my own money in the bank. I guess everybody knows that. And then after I have obtained what I need for myself daily, then you still threaten that you're going to move it around or take it away. And that means you didn't pay the cashier money that was mine from myself, and you have negative interest there that I don't have, which is, why did you pay the cashier at all when you're not to be trusted? Because you did it for myself, and I don't make my own money in the bank and spend it on myself like you do. That means you made money in the bank and you spent it on myself, but it was due for you to freeze that money in the bank and go to jail and prison, and that's how you spend it on myself. That's you being in jail. There's no substitute for that. You took money out of the bank that was in your name and spent it on myself. When you leave that money in the bank and the threatening, and if it is for my benefit, that's you going to jail and prison. And then I get everything I need out of the food supply at no charge to myself, because I am the soul who formed the stock, and I hold it in alive, and I formed the whole formed world where the stock is, and it's there for myself, and there's no monetary value. But you have something, you have assigned a monetary value to my fork and to my housing that is dismissed by that you are circulating around my address. And that means I bring something in from the store and it's not fixed here with the payment. That means there's a charge and there's a payment, and it does not guarantee everything in the address until I have finished with it. So you have a no such thing counting money high problem. You have all the negative interest. I approximately don't see God in my life until I died. And then it was saying my leverage. I'm the soul. I know I'm the soul, but I'm disclosing leverage here. I know I'm the soul, let's see, about 1980. That's when I say I'm the soul. I'm none higher than me, deceased, none higher than he, deceased, before the beginning of time, counting in the year 1980. So then it's the soul and the counting of the time, and then I sort of lost that, and I'm just myself. And then at the Homeless in North Las Vegas, that's much, much later, I didn't get disclosed leverage outside, except for I heard menstruate the testicles, and I thought that was a little bit strange. That's what I heard when I was sitting in the park a little too long. I don't have testicles. It's menstruate somebody's testicles who put me in the park. You can only do that in a walled-in prison with deceased address in the prison mortuary. That's where the testicles can be menstruated. The soul of the superior founder would rather hear that elsewheres. Well, I just don't see you doing what you should be doing because you're just nice. That's why I'm unfortunately disclosing then the soul of the superior founder. And I would rather not say that. So